If you guys want to be with a chance to win an Elgato Key Light Air, then we're running a giveaway right now. Be sure to click the link in the description box down below to enter. Hey, what's going on, guys? Arekkz here, and today I want to talk about Ghost of Tsushima because this is incredibly exciting. Hopefully a lot of you guys might have seen this already, but yesterday evening, well, evening my time, there was a big gameplay presentation where we got a look at some exploration, some combat, some customization, because up until this point we've seen, a fair few things from the game, some of it cinematics, some of it little gameplay snippets, but this was our first really cohesive look at how different aspects of the game will play, and honestly, it looks incredible. I am so excited for this one. This is totally my jam. In fact, I have my collector's edition pre-order. That is how much I'm excited for this. But today, I wanted to just quickly go over some of the gameplay, talk about some of the different aspects that I personally am super excited about, break down some of what they spoke about, and just give you guys a quick condensed look at that. I will, of course, link the original video down below if you want to watch 18 minutes of uninterrupted gameplay. And yes, this time I will actually link it down below. I know, I always forget that. I've done it this time. Cool. Also, if you guys do enjoy this video or you just enjoy the content we put out on this channel, then a like would be super appreciated. Drop a comment down below. It all helps me out massively. And if you don't want to miss the next videos we upload, then don't forget to turn on those notifications. But let's talk quickly about this game, because honestly, just visually, it looks outstanding. There are so many visually stunning aspects to this. And one of the things that I got right off the bat, just seeing them walk around the world, is weirdly, I kind of got a lot of Breath of the Wild vibes, that kind of exploration feel where you just want to explore every tiny last corner of the world. There are loads of secrets and mysteries around there. It's almost like samurais with insane visuals, with kind of the Breath of the Wild exploration wonderment. And I guess also if Assassin's Creed ever went to Japan, this is kind of what you would sort of get that feel. There's a lot of kind of interesting combinations here, but Sucker Punch are a great studio, and I have no doubt this is going to play fantastically. But let's talk about exploration, because the game, obviously, there's this huge world, plenty of places for you to explore. When they actually brought up the map, it actually looked pretty sizable. I mean, obviously, there's no context in this single image, so, it's not necessarily a case of they zoomed out and we got the kind of sheer scale of the whole map, but it still looks, pretty sizable. But honestly, when it comes to open worlds, I'm less worried about the actual sheer scale of it and more so just the interest and the intrigue, because I would much rather explore like a more condensed, interesting, smaller world that has a lot of kind of crazy stuff going on than the map just be needlessly massive just for the sake of saying they've got a big map. Anyway, that aside, one of the things that looks fantastic is the waypoint system, because in a lot of games, a lot of open world games, when you have a huge world, you need some kind of waypoint system. And in Ghost of Tsushima, it is probably one of the best implementations of this I have ever seen. They have this thing called the guiding wind, where you select your location and the wind blows in the direction that you need to go. And honestly, this just looks, it's thematically fitting for the game, but it's so cool because a lot of games, you'll either have a mini map with an arrow pointing the direction and, it's not necessarily that intrusive, but at the same time, they've done this in such an intelligent way that it fits the theme of the game and it just seamlessly blends in with your experience. You can be walking around, you're like, oh yeah, the wind's blowing there, that's where I need to go. I honestly like that. I think the kind of, they obviously said they wanted to do that because they didn't want to detract from the overall experience. You get to enjoy the wonderful visuals and just, also know where you're going. So that's pretty cool. That was awesome. Obviously, as you're exploring the world, there are shrines for you to go and discover. Discovering them gives you fast travel locations, and also as you discover more shrines, you unlock different slots. There's plenty of collectibles, which may well hint at crafting. They haven't confirmed this just yet, but the fact that you're going around, you can get things like bamboo, linen, other items. I would imagine whether that's crafting gear or whether it's just crafting things like smoke bombs, I would imagine there's probably some kind of crafting aspect in the game, which is kind of cool. But also there's all these like different mysteries and secrets. You could obviously go to the main locations marked on the maps, but they said that when you're exploring the world, sometimes there'll be other ways of sort of indicating that there are things that are hidden around there. You might find like a wild animal that might just fly by and it'll actually subtly guide you to this location. You might find smokestacks, or you might find like a fox that you'll go and kind of, crouch down and pat him on the head, and then suddenly he'll run and sort of take you to a hidden crack in the wall. So there's lots of very cool ways where they're kind of guiding you without obviously just saying, hey, you should go here. They're trying to do it in like a subtle way that again fits the theme of the world. Moving on from there to talk about combat. Combat looks really cool in this one. Obviously, they're playing heavily on the whole sort of samurai feel. They want this to feel like one of those kind of traditional old school samurai movies, but also I kind of get that sort of House of Flying Daggers vibe, that sort of epic Chinese martial arts film as well. I think I say House of Iron Dagger specifically because there's all the leaves flying around and it's kind of got that same vibe. Either way, they're going for that traditional samurai style movie where, you know, you have these awesome standoffs. So when you're playing as Jin, you know, sometimes you start off kind of as a samurai and you can go into your battles quite honorably. You know, you can actually stand off against someone and then you approach them, you size them up much like you would do in a kind of samurai encounter, and you then have this interesting combat system. Now, they didn't necessarily go too in depth into the actual different mechanics. There are obviously different parts where, you know, in the cinematic areas, you can time it correctly and you can take someone out quickly, but then when you get into the general like mob encounters, you have a parry system, which you can use to open up enemies and quickly dispatch them. But then when things don't necessarily go your way, you then just have your regular kind of hack and slash combat. Now, I do question, that's kind of my one question about this game, is quite how easily the enemies will go down, because in this situation, when you get the parry timing down and everything and you slash them quickly, they seem to cut through them pretty easily. So I wonder whether it kind of ends up being that sort of thing in some of the previous Assassin's Creed games where, like, you know, you get into a crowd of enemies and you get your button presses just right and you end up just taking them out with ease. You know, I'm sure they know what they're doing. I'm sure there's a great combat system behind this, but, you know, when they went into that encounter, they got through it very, very quickly, very easily. So I'm interested to sort of see how the difficulty curve works for that as you kind of go later in the game. But either way, I mean, irrespective of that, it still just looks fantastic. There's also different stances as well. So, you know, reminiscent of things like Neo. I mean, other games have had stances too, but, you know, you've got different stances for fighting different types of enemies, higher stances, lower stances, although they actually have like elemental names. You've got things like water stance, wind stance, earth stance, which brings out those Demon Slayer vibes, which I absolutely love. But yeah, honestly, this looks super, super cool. And then they actually went back and they did a playthrough with the same location, but this time as the Ghost, because as you progress throughout the game, you will become the dishonorable Ghost, and you can then go around and use, you know, tricks and dastardly tactics, and you can basically go around stealthily, taking them out using smoke bombs, firecrackers, anything you can possibly use to get the drop on the enemy without fighting them honorably. And that in itself just looks fantastic, knowing that you can go into encounters in different ways, knowing you can kind of go in and do stealthy encounters or do, you know, more honorable face-to-face encounters. That in itself just lays the foundation for so many different playthroughs. I said this on Twitter the other day that I don't often go back and do multiple playthroughs of the same games. Like, I've done it on some games, but not that many. However, this is definitely one of those games that straight away I looked at it and I was like, I'm going to need to do a couple of playthroughs on this at least, right? Because, yeah, you're going to want to do one of those, like, honorable samurai playthroughs and then, like, the kind of, you know, ninja, stealthy, don't be seen ghost ones. That's going to be me. Now, on the customization front, there's a lot of customization you can do, and rather interestingly, the change of your appearance is not just cosmetic. The gear you have actually affects your performance and actually helps accent your playstyle. As you kind of discover the world, you'll discover different Omamori charms, and these can, you know, the examples they showed in the gameplay were things like slowly recovering your health when you're out of combat, wind chimes releasing poison vapors that kill enemies who pick them up, and even smoke bombs regenning your health, which is great for that ghost playstyle. And they said that as your legend grows, you'll learn techniques that will transform you from the samurai into the ghost, but you yourself get to decide how those techniques evolve and grow over time. So it seems like there's quite a lot of customization for the way that you want to play. Also, you can dye your clothing. There's flowers you can find around the world, which you can then use to change the color of your clothing. Now, outside of that, they of course quickly went through other stuff like photo mode. I'll speak more about this likely in a follow-up video, but photo mode just looks, I mean, Sucker Punch like their photo mode. This is one of the nicest looking photo modes I've ever seen. It's got color grading, depth of field, you can control the wind direction, the wind speed, you can change the particles from like different leaves to fireflies to different things like that. You can even put music on it if you want it to be more of a video mode than a photo mode. There are lots of cool things for that. Plus, you've even got a Japanese voice track on the game. You've got samurai cinema mode, so you can play it in black and white like the old kind of traditional films. Honestly, this game is gonna be so good. So yeah, that's a quick rundown on some of the sort of gameplay they showed. Again, if you want to watch the entire presentation without me talking over the top, which I highly recommend you do, definitely check it out, link down below. Again, the link is actually there this time, so enjoy that. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Are you guys super excited for this? We've basically got a couple of good months of gaming. We've got Last of Us next month, we have Tsushima the month after that, and we even have Paper Mario. So there's a lot of things to look forward to, and we're going to be covering all of it. So, as always, keep it locked for plenty more, and thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, you can join the Arekkz Gaming Discord. We've got an awesome community over there with so many different channels for you to chat loads of different topics and different games. I'm in there, the team's in there if you guys want to chat with us, find people to play with. It's just in general a great place to be. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads.